Temu is a scam, is what most people think when they think of Temu. So once again, like my previous video, I went onto Temu and I bought some more stuff for the Warhammer hobby. Now, this one in particular is going to be based on whether you can actually buy decent looking 3D printed things from Temu that isn't actually scamming you. So, without further ado, we're going to jump straight into some things that I've bought personally for myself that can kind of delve into deeper whether these things are actually scamming you or not. And before we go any further, I just want to mention that I am not sponsored in any way, shape or form. No company is giving me any money, especially not Temu. I am not forced by any contract or anything of the kind to lie to you to try and promote things that I don't actually think are actually a scam. So I'm going to be giving you 100% my honest opinion on whether or not I actually think these things are actually a scam or not. And to kick things off, we have this thing right here. So this is a battle tank. Now, with a battle tank, you can put this in a Space Marine army, you can put this in, I think you could probably argue for most Imperial forces in Warhammer. Now, this isn't actually based off of anything from the Warhammer franchise. This is more or less just a 3D printed design that's intended to look like a tank, obviously. Now, I've got to my right, your left, the description and the price of, I've got actually 3 tanks, saying that. I've got the description and the price, and I will explain this to you right now exactly what it is on Temu. I'll also have this on the screen as well so you guys can see as I'm reading this. So, this is a H18 tank C, which there's different styles, obviously A, B, C, you get the point. And it was a 28mm sci-fi heavy tank miniature unpainted plastic assembly. These do arrive unassembled, so you have to put them together yourself and glue them together like most 3D printed stuff does. And for £6.98 for this specific miniature, I'm not mad at it. You can kind of see that it is... You can see the lines from the 3D printing process. So obviously when you paint this up, when you primed it, spray painted it, and then paint it up with acrylics, you're still going to see obviously all the lines. Now there is ways that you can get around that and smoothen off all the textures and stuff, but for £6.98 for a tank of this size, like I can't really be mad at it. I want to be mad at it, I do, because it's not the best quality. I'm not gonna lie, it's not the best quality. It's very lightweight, obviously, because it is 3D resin, and the details on it aren't exactly the best. You can kind of see there down by the wheels at the bottom. It's kind of just a bit but overall, in terms of what it looks like, it's not bad. 10 being a scam and 0 not being a scam, I'm going to put this a solid 3. I think that for what you're paying for, in terms of quality of the tank and obviously the fact it's the 3D printed model, it's not that bad. 3 out of 10. I wouldn't necessarily class that one as a scam. Okay, so next up we have this tank right here. So this is tank B on the advert on Temu, and this is 28mm, once again, sci-fi heavy tank miniature, unpainted plastic assembly. So again, it's by the same seller. You just get to choose which ones you want. This one is £8.08, so already a little bit more expensive than the previous one. I don't understand why. Personally, it is a little bit smaller than the previous one. Even though this is smaller, it is more expensive. Design wise, I'll show you as well in front of you. Design wise, it's pretty much the exact same. There's a little bit of tidying up to do with the resin. It's okay. It's all right. It's not the best. It is, I'd say this one's closer to probably a 4, maybe even a 5, halfway there to a scam. But again, for under a tenner, and you're getting a tank that you could field in your Warhammer army for less than what, you know, for less than half of what you'd pay for an otherwise tank, it's all right. It does what it's supposed to do. I'm not overly mad at this one either. Again, I kind of want to be mad at this one because of the quality of the print, but at the same time, I'm not too overly fast. I'm not too overly bothered. So again, probably a 4 or a 5 out of 10 scam. It's okay. Okay, next up, annoyingly, I don't actually have the picture because I forgot to take a screenshot of this tank, but I'm pretty sure this was around about the £6 mark again, so it's around £6. And it looks a little something like this. So this is, again, a fairly similar design to the others. It's got a very similar side profile to the others. The only thing that's different is the fact it's got a big cannon on the front, a big scoop at the front as well, and some mini turrets and a little bit of a different design on the top. Now, again, I think this is the biggest model that these guys were selling on the tank side of things. I actually really like the design of this one. Again, I'm going to go with a 3 on this one. Tracks have a lot of this furry sort of... I actually don't know what that is. I've never 3D printed a model myself, which is why I'm buying these online to save myself from having to buy a 3D printer. At some point in the future, I'm going to assume I'm probably going to buy one, but this will do for now. Probably a 3 out of 10 on the scam scale. Again, you can see a lot of the, you know, the printing lines on this. So again, it's a cool tank. And for the price that this is, compared to the other prices in, you know, Games Workshop, Warhammer stores and online, for the price you're paying for this and the quality it kind of is, I can't even be mad at this one. It's okay. It's all right. But again, not too much of a scam. Would I buy another one of these? Yeah, probably. If I was going to do multiple armies of a different thing with different paint schemes, different, you know, ideas of what army I want. Yeah, I would. Yeah, probably. Okay, so moving on to the next item, we have this. So this, I thought, was 3D printed, but turns out it's actually not. It's actually, well, it looks like it's been casted by a mold. It's almost like a plastery sort of molded staircase. And this was £3.86, which isn't actually too bad for the size and what it is, of course. It's a one-piece miniature stone staircase for micro landscape, and then the text gets cut off because obviously there's a screenshot. Yeah, £3.86 for this. You could make this yourself with a little bit of plaster Paris, a little bit of a mold that you can create yourself out of literally whatever, as long as you know you're good at casting. But the materials in which it would cost you to actually make this yourself compared to buying this just simply online, you know, you got to weigh up the pros and cons. Again, it doesn't have the 3D printed texture, which is good because obviously it's not 3D printed. It is molded and it is about the kind of weight that you'd expect. Texture, pretty good. Looks like rocks. I mean, I could see you using this 100% on like the back end of a miniature. You know, if you've got a big statement piece for your army and you want to put this in the back and he's kind of either walking down with 1 foot on or whatever, and you want to create almost like a mini diorama on your piece, this is ideal for you. It is about the same size as your hand, as you can clearly see. Yeah, it's all right. Again, on the scam scale, I'd probably say a 2, but again, for the price, 2 out of 10 scam. Not really a scam at all. Okay, next up, we have three. Next up, we have 3 craters. These are actually pretty big. They're fairly sizable. All pretty much the exact same size, just kind of like a different design for obviously added effects, so you don't get the same thing. And do you know what? I think these are awesome, personally. Again, you can see a lot more of like the 3D printed sort of like lining that you get when you 3D print models, but you're going to get it when you print in 3D models. I mean, it is what it is. Again, depends on what 3D printer you've got, depends on the quality of it, blah, blah, you get the point. But for cheap printed models like this, you can't really go wrong. Personally, would I say this is a scam? Not really. And these were Battlefield Crater Scenery Terrain Set, Tabletop Terrain Bundle. Again, they're just going to throw in a load of hot keywords just to obviously, you know, show up in your suggested when you're buying these kinds of things. This was £6.89. Recommended retail prices of £102.65. £102.65 for 3 of these. Somewhere along the lines, I think the recommended retail prices are pretty much just lying to you. So if you did buy this for 103 quid, you would be scamming yourself 100%, because there is no way on earth I would spend 103 quid on just these. There is no way on earth. Absolutely not. Never in a million years. But for £6.89, I mean, personally, now I really think about it, this is a bit of a scam. Although the size of them, I honestly thought when I was buying these, I thought these were going to be a lot smaller than they are. So I'm going to say that this is a 7 out of 10 scam. Purely for, one, the quality of what they look like. Although, you know, when painting these up, you could add a bit of texture paint to them to make it look a bit more sandy, a bit more gritty, a bit more like a crater. So considering that, I'm not going to give it a full-on 10 out of 10 scam. But for the size that they are, the way in which the quality has come out on these, 7 out of 10 scam. Almost bordering on a scam, but not quite. I think these are kind of cool. The only reason I'm saying it is for the price. 7 quid for these. Pushing it a little bit, but not crazy. Okay, so next up, we have my personal favorite item from this list. And this is a house. A 3D printed, medieval style. I mean, you could argue a church, actually. It's more like a house size. I think a church would be a lot bigger, personally. But this was £15, £15.27. Again, For the size of it, when it comes to it, it's actually pretty good. Again, it is obviously going to have a lot of the 3D printed lines, which is very apparent on most of these models, but I can't really be mad at it. For 15 quid, this does obviously come flat pack. I have glued it all together because I will be painting this up at some point and then putting it on one of my gaming mats. But for the kind of detail that you do get in it, I think it's kind of cool. I honestly don't really see a reason why you would be mad at spending £15 on this and then getting this through in the mail. Overall, scam out of 10, 2 out of 10 personally. The only reason why I'm not giving it a perfect 0 is because, again, the lines, you're never really going to escape the lines with these things unless you buy a really good 3D printer and you buy crazy, you know, specs and things and God knows what. Again, I don't know too much about 3D printing, but what I do know is that you do, I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure you can get 3D printers that give you a perfect finish. So for that reason, I'm going to give this a 2. But for the fact that this was 15 quid, I'm really not mad. I'm not angry at this at all. So yeah, 2 out of 10 scam. Okay, so next up we have some crystals, some crystal clumps to be exact. And again, these are kind of big, a lot bigger than what I was expecting them to come. I'm not going to lie, I thought these were a lot tinier than they are. These were £8.57, and these were apparently recommended retail price. Recommended retail price was around £12.64. So you're saving 4 quid. Would I buy these for 12 quid? Probably not, obviously. But for £8.57, I thought these was a kind of a bit of a steal. Again, you can kind of see there's some sort of tidying up to do there. And again, these are a lot. I feel like these are kind of similar in 3D printed quality. You can kind of see on the top there, there is a little bit of a weirdness going on at the top, probably from the 100% from the 3D printing process. But in terms of the tidiness and the kind of quality of the actual, I guess you could say, what are these? Gems? Crystals. Gems. So the crystals on these are actually kind of cool. Nice shape. Kind of look cool. Have come out quite nicely. They are different. There are 3 different styles of this, and these are crystals miniature set for D&D Dungeons and Dragons table, blah blah blah. So again, you could use these for whatever you wanted. I have a bit of an idea as to how I want to use these. Again, we'll get to this at some point when I create the gaming table, which you guys are going to come on the ride with me along with that one. But yeah, overall quality of these, okay. I'm not 100% mad at these. And again, for 3D printed miniatures, for £8.57 for what is essentially going to be an interest point on the map when we play, I'm going to give these a 4 out of 10 scam. Nothing crazy, nothing great, but I think they're pretty cool personally for what they are. Okay, so next up we have wound counters. Now these things are somewhat sizable, you know, decent size for what they are. This one was around £8 something. I'll show you on the screen in a second what these are, or I'll show you on right now as I'm talking about them. I think these are around about £8, and this one in particular was £11.33. So this one gives you up to 99 wounds, and this one will give you up to 999 wounds. So you're not going to need that amount of wounds, but I still think it's a cool idea to have little counters that you can slide along to count how many wounds you have left. And yeah, honestly, the 3D print quality in these are actually pretty awesome, and I just think the overall styling of them is great. Personally, I love the skulls on the side. The green color is kind of cool because obviously I'm orcs, I play orcs, so therefore the green color is amazing. So obviously the green color goes really well with them. Yeah, honestly, for the price these are, for what they are, I kind of like them. And the fact they're 3D printed, which means obviously they're lightweight, which means you can put them into, you know, your carry bag and they're not going to take up too much weight. Again, overall, scam out of 10, probably a 3. Nothing great, nothing crazy, but for what they are, again, pretty cool. We're going to be moving on to something which I paid £5.93 for. These are recommended retail price at £22.54. And I paid nearly £6 for these. These are absolutely tiny. 9 pieces of corpse miniature set for Halloween, tabletop, RPGs, and collectible toys. These are absolutely tinsy. I feel like this is a 9 out of 10 scam, personally. It didn't say anywhere how big they were. I assumed that they'd be at least maybe up to 3 inches in size. Turns out they are literally the size of the smaller end of your thumb. I feel like I've actually been scammed by this. This is the first official thing that I genuinely feel like I've been scammed by on Temu. There have been a lot of other things that I bought in the past that are not for Warhammer that I have genuinely felt scammed out by. There may even be one in the next video that I've got coming in this series. Stay tuned for that one. Again, The overall sculpts of these are very simple. In terms of 3D printed, they're not terrible in terms of their quality. You know, the details are very visible. It's a good sort of like, in terms of styling, I guess you could say, and their sculpts, not terrible, not really that bad. The details are quite fairly visible on them. It's just the fact that how small they are. £5.93. You could argue that for just under £6, the quality compared to how much you're paying for them isn't really too crazy. And I'm probably moaning over the small things, but of anything in this delivery that I got, I feel like this is the thing that I got scammed of the absolute most. And there we have it. That is pretty much everything I bought in terms of 3D printed over on Temu. Let me know down in the comment section below if you have ever bought 3D printed things from Temu and whether or not you've actually used them, or just throw them straight in the bin, because I know for a fact I'll be using most of these things. I'm still in my mind contemplating whether I use these. I may just use these on miniature bases for, you know, big crazy Titanic models in the future. I probably won't end up using these on my gaming board as such. I may not. I'll probably decide when I get to it, but at the same time, it is what it is, and I've bought these now, so I've now got them in my collection for me to do so. Other than that, if you have got this far in the video and I have given you any value from this video whatsoever, please feel free to like the video down below. It helps me out a ton and lets me know that you do enjoy these videos. Other than that, subscribe if you want to for more stuff just like this in the future, and whilst you're already here, why not click one of these two videos here? You might as well. You've got this far.